Welcome to Changemakers for today's session on strategic project management for nonprofits. I am Vijeta, training coordinator at Rashtriya Seva Bharati, and today I have with us Mr. Sudarshan, the Chief Learning Facilitator at Prakasha Academy, for sharing his insights with us on this topic. Namaste and welcome to this learning session, Mr. Sudarshan.
Namaste.
As we all know, most nonprofits start with passion, but passion alone does not create sustainable impacts. Why do some nonprofits remain activity driven for years while others create real measurable change? Why do some projects lose momentum halfway through? And why do small organizations struggle with data, monitoring, and reporting, even when their intentions are really strong? In today's conversation, we will unpack what truly differentiates informal nonprofits from professionally managed ones and how even small teams can adopt structured thinking to create lasting impact. So, here goes my first question to you, Mr. Sudarshan. How do you see small nonprofit organizations managing their projects on the ground?
From what I have seen, usually small NGOs operate in one of two ways. The first approach is experience based and reactive. They respond quickly to immediate needs and focus on visible symptoms. Usually decisions are driven by urgency and emotion, and the work becomes activity focused. The second approach combines passion with structure. So these organizations look beyond symptoms and try to address root causes. Their decisions are guided by a clear vision and strategy, and they focus on outcomes rather than just activities. Both approaches come from good intent, but the real difference lies in whether passion is supported by systems and long-term thinking.
But Sudarshan, research says that nearly 30% of non-profit organizations still struggle to survive beyond 10 years. So, do you think the leadership mindset plays a critical role in deciding whether the NGO will be remaining reactive or more structured?
Yes, leadership mindset is very critical. When leaders encourage reflection and planning, organizations naturally become more strategic.
What does it take for an organization to understand a problem in deeper level rather than just at the surface level?
Yeah. So non-profits have to put more effort in understanding the problem. The first thing is to understand the context of the problem. So who is affected? You can't just say community, but you have to specifically say what is the age group which is affected, in which geographical area, and things so on. And second thing is get evidence by looking at the data that is available or talk to the stakeholders, and sometimes you may have to validate their assumptions. And third thing is not just look at the symptoms, but look at the root causes. Any root cause can be actually identified by asking why several times. And finally, the important thing is what happens if you don't this problem solve this problem for a long term. And deep understanding of the problem is not about just rushing into the action. You have to just be little patient. So understand more the problem, then you will be in a better position to solve any problem.
I agree with this, Sudarshan. But the data says like more than 272 million children are out of school, okay, in today's scenario. So when the problem is such a high thing, then how can you think that small NGOs avoid jumping into quick solutions?
So even with large global problems, the local context matters a lot. So when NGOs talk to the stakeholders, they often find the real barriers to the problem. So it's not just about the problem, the scale of the problem. It's about just the intention of understanding what is the root cause of that problem.
Yes, I agree with that. So going to further next question, when it comes to designing effective interventions, so what frameworks can help NGOs to think and plan better in such situations?
So, three frameworks really work well together. The first one is theory of change. So, this theory of change will answer why this should work. So, it explains how the change pathway is from how it leads to the end goal. The second thing is logical framework. So, it will answer the question like how will you measure the things. So, it will also link your activities to outputs and outputs to outcome and outcome to impact, and also you will be able to measure all these things by identifying the indicators. And the third thing is best project management practices. So, these will answer how exactly you will achieve your goals. So, this could include planning and then scheduling, identifying the roles and responsibilities, monitoring, budgeting, and so on. So, overall, all these three frameworks put together will help you to achieve the project goals.
Okay, so in simple terms, you want to say that theory of change will conclude like what, and logical framework will answer you why, and project management will help you answer how. So when all the three comes together, it will be easy for you for the interventions to make it thoughtful and executable,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, Sudarshan. So my next question would be, when only a small percentage of non-profits have dedicated evaluation staff, so how can smaller organizations still apply these frameworks?
So, you can start in a simple way. One page of theory of change or one page of logical framework can guide the entire project. So, it's not really about how big the project is, it's about how intentionally you're working towards the goals.
This is a very good point, actually. Yours, you can note about like how the theory of change and how the logical framework and how the project management can be differentiated and can be used according to your project and your level. So, thank you, Sudarshanji, for answering this. And my next go will be like we know many NGOs end up doing most of the work with a very small team generally. So, what help organization engage more people meaningfully?
So, this is really an important thing, especially when the non-profits are small. They should try to seek help from others. So, they should not really look at people as just helpers. So, they should identify them as stakeholders.
Right.
So, there are different categories of people where you can consider as stakeholders. One is actually community, and other one is volunteers, even donors, and also other institutions. So, you have to think about how you can engage them meaningfully. So, it does not happen just by assigning tasks, it happens only by sharing the responsibility. So, when you actually you involve them in decision making and then have a shared responsibility, then actually they can engage meaningfully, and that will tremendously contribute to the success of the non-profit organizations.
Nice. Yeah, I have also seen that actually when you involve people in decision making, it has resulted into good commitment. Yes. So this has also come into my experience. So by taking it further in implementation process. So during implementation, where do projects usually start losing their momentum?
So, the progress requires monitoring framework, and I have often seen many of the non-profit organizations, they don't have proper monitoring framework. So, they have not defined the responsibilities that who should monitor the entire process, and they have not identified the indicators for monitoring. And with this, people get busy, they keep working, but there is a small gaps which will grow, and over a period of time the project starts drifting from the impact, and finally you will see that they will not achieve the end result. So having a proper monitoring framework is very important for the success of the project.
Okay, so you say that when there is no monitoring system in place, it may result in losing the momentum of the project, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now answer me this: why does monitoring become weaker in like many places?
Yeah, monitoring becomes weak when data collection is seen as a burden rather than as a decision making tool. So most of the time data is collected, but it is never consolidated, never analyzed, never discussed, and you don't get any insights from the data. And monitoring is often seen as a reporting tool rather than the learning tool. So for any clear monitoring framework, you need very well defined indicators, very well defined responsibilities, and frequent reflection of what is happening. Without these things, project will lose its momentum.
Right. So monitoring has to be placed, right? What do you think? Like the organizations should start as a first step to strengthen this monitoring process.
Yeah, actually, it's very simple. They can start with at least 3 to 4 indicators, identify how what data needs to be collected to measure those indicators. So start with small steps, then everything will be in place.
Okay, so slowly they have to build the momentum by using the monitoring tools in
Yes.
place, right? Good, Sudarshanji. So, as you said, data collection is one of the important tools in monitoring framework. So, what kind of data is useful for project managers?
So useful data is data which is used for any decision making. So you can't just complete activities and say you have made progress. So changes have to be measured. So that is possible by collecting both quantitative data as well as qualitative data. Most of the non-profits, they focus on numbers,
Right.
like outputs, but it is important to get feedback from the projects uh, about quality of how the project is making progress.
Right. So that means they have to focus much on the impact, right,
Yes.
rather than on the numbers. So after identifying the impact, yes. So now, how will you be like communicating it to different people effective way?
So the effective means of communicating any impact is through stories. So people relate emotionally to the stories,
Right.
but it has to be supported by the evidence also. And usually numbers inform, but stories will move. And any good story will connect the person, problem, intervention, and finally the change. And stories will help the donor to understand the impact, and stories will help the community to be respectful, and stories will inspire the volunteers.
Right. Yes, but storytelling should always be authentic and it should be ethical, right?
Yes.
And the communication should not only like give you the data or the activities done, but it should actually narrate the transformation.
Yes.
Yeah. So, other than storytelling, what else is required?
Regular reporting will help.
Okay. So regular reporting, like how does a regular reporting can help an NGO in its like work?
So reporting is not just about compliance, it's about leadership. So by regular reporting, you are communicating the impact to the stakeholders. And also consistently by generating the reports, you can actually build trust, transparency, credibility and reputation of the organization.
Okay. So, other than impact assessment and storytelling, regular reporting is also one of the best tools to be followed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, then is this reporting also helpful for an NGO to influence its internal culture?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Reporting helps the staff to build accountability, and also it helps them to focus on outcomes rather than just the output. Second thing is, reporting motivates the teams because their work is documented and also it is visible. And most importantly, reporting helps to build the rhythm of reflection. And it's not just about actually what you did, it's about learning how to do it better.
Okay. Very well answered, Sudarshan. With this, almost all my questions are over for you today. We had a very insightful session with you from beginning to like how to start a project at the ground level, how does it work, from the framework, logical framework, till the reporting process. So we have got so many insights from you on the project management session. So I want to know now, what is the biggest takeaway for our viewers today?
So, what we have explored today is not about turning non-profits into corporations. It's about clarity. Clarity about the problem, clarity about the strategy, clarity about roles, monitoring, and learning. And perhaps the biggest takeaway is this: you don't need to be a large organization to work professionally, you just need to work intentionally. So, thank you for the thoughtful, thought provoking questions, Vijaytaji.
Thank you, Sudarshan, for being here and giving us insightful answers for all our questions. We are glad to have you today with us for this session.
Thank you.
Professional project management in social sector does not remove compassion, it strengthens it. When passion is supported by structure, when data guides decisions, when stories communicate transformation, and when reporting builds trust, impact becomes sustainable. Thank you for joining us today for this session. If this conversation resonates with you, share it with more change makers. We will come up with more such interesting topics soon. Namaste.